Who are you?
Kendrick Lamar.
My release therapy is writing the music.
I'm proud of y'all. I'm proud of the city of Compton.
I'd rather talk about my reality. You know what I'm saying? I'd rather talk about something a little bit more deeper than that. The reasons and the problem and the solutions behind it. So when you hear these stories in Good Kid, Mad City, when you hear these stories in To Pimp a Butterfly, it's a little bit deeper than just the music. There's cats out here really trying to do something and really trying to spark the idea of positivity in the community.
How can I use my influence with other cats coming into the city and me still being involved in the activities, inside the streets? How can I influence that in a positive way?
That's got to be great.
That's great. Inspire, my little brothers and sisters, inspire my little cousins, my city. It also make me more hungry though.
Really though?
Yeah.
Why?
Yeah, because it's a need to never be content or to be comfortable. You always want to continue to grow. So whatever that challenge is, I'm always looking for it. I could be proud and say this is where I'm from. I still believe in Compton. Compton always been the future for me. I think we breed some of the most incredible individuals, creators, intellectuals, talent. We had it since day one. That's why I always screamed this city. I've traveled the world. There's no place like this one right here.
Kendrick Lamar is many things. Poet, writer, artist, wordsmith, local hero, community-driven, exceptional talent, leader. However,
for instance, hip-hop. Hip-hop has done more damage to black and brown people than racism in the last 10 years.
These goofballs see an easy target.
Did you catch that? Lamar stated his views on police brutality with that line in the song, quote, "And we hate the popo, want to kill us in the street, faux show." KG.
Please. I don't like it.
It is so wrong. It is so counterproductive. It gives exactly the wrong message.
And use the Fox News empire to attack him whenever they can. From media folks.
Our culture has changed over the last 30 or 40 years, and there's been an attack on those things in particular. And I just think that kids are exposed to all kinds of horrible stuff nowadays too. I look back and I think about the horrible stuff that they hear when they listen to rap music, the video games that they watch from a really early age.
To sitting politicians, it's safe to say he's taken a lot of heat in his career. On Kendrick's album To Pimp a Butterfly, considered by some to be his best album, he suffered the wrath of many for his creative expressions, musical integrity, and storytelling. The album's 7th song is All Right, a powerful protest track that Lamar said lyrically was inspired by a trip to South Africa's Robben Island, where Nelson Mandela sat imprisoned in a cell. From Complex, since its release in 2015 on To Pimp a Butterfly, All Right has been widely accepted as one of this generation's most important protest anthems. It's a symbol of hope. It's difficult to pinpoint the exact moment the song was first used in a protest setting, but many trace it back to July 2015 as news of Sandra Bland's death while in police custody spread and protests ensued.
Now to the latest on Sandra Bland, the woman who was found dead in a Texas jail cell 3 days after being arrested during a traffic stop. Police have released new video from outside her cell around the time she died, as her family awaits the results of that private autopsy.
All Right was later played during the Million Man March for Racial Equality, a movement for Black Lives Conference at Cleveland State University, Trump protest rallies, and countless Black Lives Matter events across the country.
Hey, we gon' be all right. Hey, we gon' be all right. Hey, we gon' be all right.
Dr. Noriko Minabe, seen here, is an associate professor of music theory in the Department of Music Studies, and she would earn an Outstanding Publication Award from the Society for Music Theory for her article, We Gon' Be All Right? The Ambiguities of Kendrick Lamar's Protest album, which was published in Music Theory Online in 2019. She'd say there are lots of hands that become involved in the making of All Right between Pharrell Williams, Kendrick Lamar, Soundwave, and all the people who are involved in the video. Then the journalists chime in, and the protesters make it into a protest track. It shows how a sonic creation can never be wholly owned by the creator. It becomes what the public makes it out to be. Per scholar, researcher, policy advocate, activist, author, professor, former chairman of Howard University's Department of Political Science, and current director of the International Affairs Program, Clarence Lusane would write, "Black music has been shaped by the material conditions of black life. Contextually, today's black youth culture flows out of the changes that affected the political economy of U.S. capitalism over the last 2 decades." Reverend DePayne Middleton, doctor, would tell NPR of Kendrick and the song, he's not denying that we're in a protracted state of trauma. He's saying, I know that we may have all of these things around us that will allow us to escape, but the movement is still there. The fight is still there. And I think it's important to recognize that, because sometimes we don't think about the psychological impact and trauma of fighting for your life every single day. In addition to the lyricism, Lamar's music video has been studied and analyzed by some of the finest in their respective fields, showing the complexities, the hardships, the beauty, the pain, and the reality. And yet, through everything you just heard, these powerful messages have been misconstrued. A local town is set to pay out $100,000 to settle a lawsuit that, per the Connecticut Insider, stems from claims the son of a police officer suffered emotional distress and claims his parents were forced to pay tuition costs to move the child to another school after the student's 8th grade class was shown the music video to All Right. The teacher showed Songs That Shook America, a riveting series involving the Roots frontman Black Thought, goated, and drummer Questlove, outlining various ballads that made their impact. All Right was featured. Eric Bender, the writer who broke the story for CT Insider, wrote in his piece, "The lawsuit claims the teacher knew that one of his students was the son of a cop and had an individualized education plan and a diagnosed learning disorder. It also argues that the video depicted officers as murderers and contained other shockingly violent scenes and controversial statements about police officers. Per Patch.com, the case dates back to 2020, when the Vernon Center middle school teacher received a written reprimand after a complaint was filed by the student's parent. 2 years later, the lawsuit was filed because the son of the officer watched this music video. He suffered emotional and psychological injuries and distress. That's per the suit. PTSD was mentioned, depression, shock, anxiety, confusion, feeling unsafe, sadness, and social withdrawal were also listed." Noah McGee of The Root would add, "The teacher who showed the documentary was reprimanded at the time after parents said the content in the doc was inappropriate. This is the same teacher who was also reprimanded in 2004 for showing excerpts from the documentary Fahrenheit 9/11 and then reprimanded again in 2006. So before we get into it, if you can, please go to youtube.com/TYT Sports, our homepage, and become a channel member to keep us afloat. And or go to tyt.com/join. You could also follow me on my socials, Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok. This is layered, but what it shows at the same time is narrow vision and a misunderstanding. Because as I outlined in this piece, and as we put together for you, there are so many factors that go into why this is not just a brilliant song, but a brilliant music video as well. And as someone who grew up with a learning disability, I can relate to how hard some things are when it comes to schooling. What I cannot relate to is a lack of an openness to simply learn and adapt. And yes, there is clearly a bias in the home of back the blue, protect the shield at all costs, cry a foul when anyone goes against. It's quite clear. But for a school district to not have their teachers back, in their teachings that they believe is best for their class, and to have the dialogue to explain their positions, I'm dumbfounded. I really, really am. This is one of the most brilliant songs in hip-hop history. One of them. I didn't say the, I said one of them. And to see how it flies over the head of so many, and it results in a small town having to pay 6 figures because of it, it seems like pure and utter hogwash to me. But hey, that's just my opinion. Let me know yours in the comments. Thank you for watching. Have a great day.